the second video of PySpark series, in which we are going to solve top 50 questions of lead code using PySpark. So to get started, we'll open lead code platform and we'll see which question we are going to solve. So I'll go to the lead code platform. I have already opened the question. This time the question name is find customer referee. So let's see what is there in the question. So if you can see over here, we have a table called as customer and we have column name as ID, name, referee ID, and we have to find the names of the customer that are not referred by the customer with ID equals to 2. So in order to understand the question properly, we'll see what is the input and what is the output that we are getting over here. So the input we can see over here is we have a table called as customer with the column name as ID, name and referee ID, and we are returning the column name and the value when ID is not equals to 2. So we have returned Will, Jane, Bill and Jack. For all of these names we can see the ID is either null or 1. Whenever ID is equals to 2, it's not returned. So I have already opened the VS Code and added the question that we are going to solve. Based on that question, I have also added the data that is needed to solve the question, and I have named it as second.csv, where you can see the table and the column name as ID, name and referee ID that was there on the lead code platform. So we'll get started with the code in PySpark. In order to load the second.csv, we'll have to first start reading it in PySpark. So if you have followed the first video where I have shown you how we can create the object of a Spark session and how we can load it, based on that only we are going to load over here as well. So I'll just use second df equals to spark.read.csv and we'll just pass the parameter as the name of table that we are having over here. I will also pass header equals to true and I'll also infer this schema and I'll just hit enter to verify whether the data is loaded or not. In the second data frame, we'll just do second data frame dot show. So as you can see over here, the data is loaded correctly and the column name over here is ID, name, referee ID. Now the question is, we have to find the name of the customer that are not referred by the customer with ID equals to 2. Okay, so again we'll have to use the filter API that we are having in PySpark, and we have to filter all those names whose ID is not equals to 2. So I will quickly start writing the logic to find the required output. Okay, so what I'll do is I'll just try to use the filter method that we are having in PySpark, and we'll just try to filter all the value whose referee ID is not equals to 2. So I'll just pass referee ID over here and write not equals to 2 and show. Let's see what we are getting over here. So as you can see, it is just returning one value whose ID is equals to 5 and referee ID is equals to 1. But we were expected that we should return all the values whose referee ID is not equals to 2. Means all those null values of referee ID should also be returned. Okay, but how we can do it over here? So first of all, we'll have to clean the data. When I'm saying we'll have to clean the data, we'll have to replace null with some other value so that we can compare it over here. Okay, so in order to do that, what we can do is we can use fill NA method on the referee ID column, and we'll have to fill something other than null. Okay, what we can do over here is we can just write second df and dot fill NA method, and inside this fill NA method we'll have to pass a dictionary, and the first value will be the column name and the second value will be the value that we want for each of the column or each of the row that we are having with this column name. Okay, so let's say we are passing referee id over here, and what value should we pass? We can pass any value other than 2, because we are here to filter out the referee id whose value is not equals to 2. So let's say I have passed 0. So what this line will do is it will fill all the null value with 0, where column is equals to referee id. Okay, so let's try it out and see what is happening over here. So let's use show method, and so you can see over here all the null value is replaced by 0, and the referee id or the data that we are having in this column is cleaned now. Now we can filter the same thing that we did over here. Okay, so first of all, it's like it's immutable, so we'll have to again store it in some other data frame or in the same data frame. It will just override it. Okay, so I'll just remove this show from here and execute it, and again I'll execute this one over here. So let's execute it and let's see whether we are getting the output as we are expecting or not. Okay, so now you can see we are getting all the output that was required in the lead code output. Okay, so you can see over here we are getting all the names whose referee id is not equals to 2, along with column id and referee id, but the actual output was only the name column with value that we are seeing over here. So what we'll do over here is we'll just try to filter out the name column. Okay, or we can just directly select the name instead of all of the values that we are having over here for the columns. So as we did it last time in the first video, we can do the same thing over here. Okay, so I'll just write dot select, and I'll just select one column as name, and hopefully it will work fine. Okay, let's try to execute it and let's see whether we are getting the output as expected or not. So yes, you can see over here name as Will, Jane, Bill, Jack. It's same as the output that we have seen over here in the lead code. Okay, so by executing this filter method, we can say we are getting the required output. Okay, so if you are having any doubts or queries, you can just comment and I'll try to answer all the queries that you are having over here. Thanks for watching this video. If you want to learn more, stay tuned with us and see you in the next video. Bye bye.